Now I'd like to welcome our final Ignite presentation. We have a presentation about where to start. Ken Mugrage, who is a technical evangelist over at ThoughtWorks and a huge supporter of DevopsDays around the world, is going to be talking about where to start with continuous delivery. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you. Thanks. I work for one of those evil vendors, and the questions change, but the one that always seems to be there is, where do I start? What do I automate first? Do I start at the beginning? Do I do unit tests? Do I do whatever? And the thing is, it's an impossible question. It's kind of like, how long does it take to build a house when you don't know anything about the house? So what you really want to do is look at your process and find out where you have the most cost or risk or what have you. So value stream mapping is one way to do that. There's lots of different ways. Now, this is a 5-minute talk, and so luckily there's lots of stuff on the web where you can get into a lot more detail. We're not going to go into quite that much, but hopefully you'll get an overview and get an idea if this is something that even could work for you. So part of the purpose of this also is to gain a common understanding of what it is you actually do. You may think you know everything your company does from idea through production. I bet you don't, unless it's like a 3-person company. So you want to do that. You get everybody together. You also want to establish a baseline. You can't measure improvement if you don't know where you are now. If I don't know how long it takes to get from idea to production, then I can't measure if I get any better. Okay, so first thing you do is, I'm sorry, it's an all-hands meeting. It's everybody that's involved. Don't accept, well, I know what they do. I'll cover that. You need the people that actually do it because they're probably doing things that you don't know about. Okay, so this is a meeting that's unfortunately pretty expensive. So for a 5-minute talk, I have to choose a simple process. So we're going to talk about doing a value stream map on getting my 19-year-old to do his chores, which is not an easy thing to do. So part of it is when you get the team in there, you do have to lay out, why are we doing this? You have to acknowledge challenges. He thinks he's too old to do chores. You have to acknowledge constraints. If he's not going to do chores, he can pay rent. But it's important to understand where teams are coming from. So the first thing you do is you map out the actual steps. And again, it's really important to get the people that are doing this to tell you how long each thing takes. So these are his 3 major chores: garbage, cleaning up after the dog, and dishes. The next thing you want to do is you find out the lead time. So how much time is in between these? You finish this task, you're going to start the second one. This is often the biggest source of waste in continuous delivery. I have to wait for an environment to be established. I have to wait for this team to do this thing, whatever. But remember, you need to make sure every step is included, even the ones that aren't documented, which in our case was quite a bit of where the waste was. And again, that's going to be the case. You may not know that someone is logging into a system. And again, it's really important that you count the actual work. So, our house, according to him, takes up about half the state of Washington because it takes a very long time and these things go separate. And so, okay, there's not much I can do from optimization there. It's not going to get any faster. Cleaning up after our dog is a little different than cleaning up after some dogs. That's the one that's 140 pounds. The other one's about 95. They're lap dogs. But, again, that chore is not going to get much faster. So just because some other org does something in a certain amount of time doesn't mean that's the same time for you. Also pay attention to the room. Turns out this is the task that causes the most pain. He hates it so much, he offered to pay me to do it, which he doesn't have that much money. But we also had some pretty decent quality issues here. So this is what I talk about when you look at not only the time, but also the risk to the company. To Leon's point, if this goes down, are you going to lose revenue? So, what's the level of pain with this particular process? So this was the one we chose, and we actually really did this. He hated it. So again, we look at the current state. What are the steps you use? How do you get there? How long do they take, et cetera? And then be really open to being completely disruptive. I talked to somebody earlier at our table that said, yeah, we have some legacy things, and when we automated it, we just ran the same things. Be disruptive. So in our case, it literally was, okay, we're not going to let things pile up anymore. Your job is to empty the dishwasher. We will then, as a team, share the load of loading it. And so this is what happened, supposedly. I mean, the time to get this done goes down. So really the point here is get the whole team together, count your actual work, and then figure out the spot that is going to benefit you the most. It might be where you're wasting the most time. It might be where you have the most risk, but that's where you start, even if that's really far to the right of your pipeline. So that's it for me. Thank you.